Hello everyone, thanks for joining me at stampityourself.com. My name's Connie Ray and today's tutorial is this cute little card. Isn't it cute? I love it. I love it. Okay, I have used in this little tutorial that you can do very easily now that I've done all the hard fussy bits. In this tutorial I have used the Pretty Kitty stamp set from Stamp It Yourself. Yeah, stamp it yourself. Stamping up. There, let's get it out. Okay, from Stamping Up, and this is the kitty set that I have used to do the little kitten. I have used the bottom kitty here because I wanted the little kitten at the bottom, this little guy. I wanted her to face the puppy dog, so I wanted her facing that direction. So I have used the kitty out of the Pretty Kitty stamp set. I have used Bella and Friends, which is this one, and I have used this little puppy dog here. And I have used the sentiment, I'll be your up when you're feeling down, which is in this set as well. And I've also used the little birdie, and that's from Bella and Friends. The umbrella has been used out of this particular set. Sorry, the light's just shining just there. Weather Together. This is a bundle set. It comes with a polymer stamp set and the dies to match. I have used the die for the umbrella. I have used the die for the umbrella stick, and I've used the rain dies, and there's two of those, and this creates the rain effect on your project per se. And I'll show you how I've done that. I'll just put some paper behind it so you can see it, and it creates rain. And that's what the dies do, as well as making the little umbrella that they are sitting in. So, and floating on water, and I'll show you how to do the water as well. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I appreciate you stopping by to give it a go. So that's what you need: the Weather Together, the Pretty Kitty and the Bella and Friends, the stamp sets, and the dies for the umbrella and the Weather Together, and they come as a tutorial. But anyway, that's the three sets that I've actually used today. And I've also used, I have to say, the die, this particular die. Sorry, I forgot to mention this one. This particular die out of the Flourishing Framelets, I think it's called. Yes, no, the Flourishing Phrases. They come as a bundle, and I have that set as well. And the bundle comes with some dies, and those dies, they're included in those dies is this particular die here, which I have used to make the waves, and I'll show you how I've done that very shortly. But that is basically created. I've used this die to create waves, and of course, you know, if you want to draw the waves or rip paper and rip the waves, you know, like, you can do that too. You don't need to buy that die set to do that. You can make your own waves. But it actually came about because I did have some there's a couple of designs that I did, and it did actually leave this little edge here on let me see if I can bring it up closer, more accentuated. Here we go. So when you cut this particular die, I'll show you what it does. So if you pop this into your die machine, let me bring you in closer so you can see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so if you pop this into your Big Shot, what happens is you run it through, and you're left with two sides on either side that come out. Once this comes away, this is what comes away, is this gorgeous little that's not very good, you can't see it because it's still filled in. I've got hundreds of these, mind you. 300,000 takes later. Here's a nice coloured one. So basically, when you take the die out, you'll take that away, and what you're left with is this, which is this gorgeous wave kind of look. And I liked it because it was very accentuated, the waves themselves. I thought, oh, they look like little waves, and hence this project came about. So I didn't throw them out, and I've reused them as waves. So again, you can use this die to create it because you're going to have them left over if you used it anyway, or you can just make your own waves. It's easy. Okay, so I used the rain dies, which are these dies here. There's two of them in the set, and I've used both of these in this particular tutorial. Just make sure, and I've done it 100 times myself, get your rain, when it falls, make sure it's falling the right way. You don't have one falling one way and one the other. So make sure your bobbles at the end are really quite at the heavier end. I've had my rain in so many different angles. So those are your two dies that come in the tutorial, in the bundles kit. So, and that's what I've used to create the rain. So I've already gone ahead and done some things so that you're not going to be sitting here doing a lot of fussy cutting and bits and pieces. So to save time, I've already gone ahead and done a lot of stuff so that I can show you exactly what to do online in this tutorial, so you don't have to fuss around too much. Well, you don't have to sit here and watch me for hours. Okay, behind here, I actually had used some cardstock, which was Marina Mist, and it's about, let me see, it's 2 inches wide. Is it 2 inches? No, sorry, it's 2 inches in length, and it's 4 inches in width. So you just got to make sure, basically, it's the same width as your card, because this is going on the back, and you can always trim down the side, so it doesn't really matter. But you must make sure it's going to be the width of your card. And this mat is 3 3/4 in width, and in length it's 5. So you want to make sure that, you know, it's at least 3 3/4. So on the back, I'm going to quickly just add I've run out of my Marina Mist cardstock. I had one piece left, which I used on another card in the original design. So I've found something that's very similar, but I do prefer the Marina Mist. It does look a little bit better. So you don't want to get this, go round the rain, don't go on the rain, and don't go on top of your Marina Mist card, because you'll have it showing through. You don't want to do that. So I'm just popping that on, and I've used Tombow just to make sure it's nice and stuck down so that the rain is very accentuated. And as you can see, it looks like rain. Isn't it cute? And it does come up good. Now I've tried one having 3 sets of rain. Doesn't work for me. I don't know. I've tried 2. It seems to work better for me with 2. But if you can get 3 into the card and it suits you and it doesn't look really busy, go ahead and do it. But I just found it. There's a lot going on with this card, so you want to make sure that you're not overdoing the card, and it's not too hard to look at. It's not too busy to look at. So that's my thoughts on that section. So I'm just going to trim this off now, just to make sure it's nice and neat. And we've got our rain all set in, as they say. So the rain is in. Now the next thing that you probably would be looking at doing would be, I suppose, you could do your little critters. I've done my cat, my little kitty, and my little puppy. I've already gone ahead and done those, as I said before. I have used my Copic markers, whatever people want to call them. I use W1 and W3. I use W3 on the puppy and W1 on the kitty, and of course some pink around their little bows and the little dog tag. I like Copic, but I just prefer to use Copic as markers because they're alcohol markers and they work really well. They are a bit pricey. You can use colouring in pencils really if you want to. It's up to you. Or you can use ink and you can watercolour it. You can use lots of different options here. But for me, I prefer to use my Copic markers. Number 1, because I already have them. And number 2, I just think they just work really well. But obviously Stampin' Up! Don't use Copic markers. Their markers, the ones that they've got, are fine, but they tend to, if you're using a lot of shading, you'll probably need to have the stronger cardstock to make sure that your shading comes out as nice and as clean as it does with the alcohol markers. So that being said, we'll move right along. So I've already done the kitty and the puppy in those colours, but you can do them whatever colours you want. You know, and kids can do them if they want to. They can colour them in pencils. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to start doing is the waves. Now, and I did, as I showed you before, just with the leftovers from using this die, I've got waves. So I liked the dramatic effect of the waves. I started with just use this line here. Hope my head's not in the way, no, and I hope I'm close enough for you to see. Let me just move in a bit further. There we go. So basically the card, obviously the waves are longer than the card, so, and I want them to be like that, and I will trim them off once I've done it, once I've sorted out my pattern of the waves. And all I've done with the waves is I've just gotten them on the bottom. There we go. I'll just move out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. It is a little bit of fiddling around this card, but it is so much fun to get it done. And then once you get it done, the effects are really cute. Super, super cute. So here I've just used a little bit of Tombow on the bottom because I do want a little bit of wiggle room. I want to be able to slide it around to make sure it's straight and I've got the effect of the waves and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to probably pop this one about halfway or 3/4 of the way up from the bottom. Okay, so that's my first layer, I think. Try not to stick it onto the thing. Oh dear, I've done this card a few times today, and I've also done the recording a few times today. So, no comment. But I did think it was certainly worth it to go to all the fuss. All right, so this one here, I'm thinking, yeah, that's kind of good. I like the dramatic look that it gives you with the waves. It gives a little bit of interest rather than just having coloured waves. It sort of like looks a little bit more dramatic. So it kind of goes without saying, doesn't it, that you want to just give it a little bit of movement as well when you are making it. So when you're putting it together, it looks like there's movement in the waves. It's just what you want. And then I'm thinking that I might just use this piece here, because I might just make a little bit more depth in the waves. And it looks good. I might take it out that way. Should I take it out that way? Take it in this way a bit. Yeah. And about there, I think. I don't want it to marry up too much. There we go, about there, I'd say. Actually, I might use this piece here. Yeah, after you've done a couple, you sort of get this into the swing of it, but it does take a bit of practice, I have to say. Yeah, this one looks good. Just on the bottom, we're gluing just a little. Oops, sorry, I am out of shot there. Let me bring that up closer. Just along the edge here, just putting a tiny, tiny piece of a sprit of glue Tombow. And then we're popping it down again, just going to make a little bit of drama on the waves, just so they look a little bit dramatic. Got a bit of depth to them. Yep, that looks good. Don't worry about the edges because we're going to just trim that off and it's going to have this gorgeous wave effect on the bottom. And another one. I think we've got one more. I think there was only 4 on the original one, but I did decide at some point that we could do with another wave or 2, just to give it that oceany effect or the wave effect. So I think I'm sort of getting there with that. I might just pull this one over to this side a bit and make sure that it's there and it's got the depth. It's not hard, but you just need to play around with it a bit. And then last but not least, I might just put another little piece down here, and I might put it up a little bit closer this time, just to give it that nice wave look, the dramatic wave look. Yep, I'll stick that one down. Okay, so then just put this one in here. So if you want your waves to be tighter looking, you put them really close. If you want them to be exaggerated, just separate them basically. But ultimately, the waves are waves. There goes a bit of scrap paper, which is good. Fine. Okay, so now we're just going to trim that off. Don't trim off the card. Don't trim off the card. I don't want to have to do it all again. There we go. Okay, as you can see, there's some waves. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now we've got some waves laid down on our It's just getting a bit sticky. Don't want my card to stick. Let me see. I'm just thinking if I need to put another one just on the bottom there, because it just looks a little bit bare and crooked. So I might just straighten that bottom piece up, because it just is, look, it's just looking a little bit neglected down the bottom here. So I might just put another one just on the bottom, just to even it up a bit, because it's looking a little bit sad on the bottom. It wasn't quite looking straight, and it wasn't looking, there we go. Whoop. Perfect. So we've got big waves and little waves, got all sorts of things happening. But either way, you need the waves to create the drama. Okay, so there's our waves. I probably could have gone a bit closer here, and you can also move yours up here, but you know, it's okay. It'll all come out. At the end of the day, it all says the same thing. It's a very cute little card. Okay, so the waves are done and out of the way. The next thing that we want to do is I'll tell you what I've used in terms of colours. So the rain, which is this piece up here, you're going to need a piece of Marina Mist in a cardstock. At the you've got the Dapper Denim. That is I think it's 2 inches by 3. I'm not sure. Let me think. Sorry guys. Yeah, 2.5 inches by 4 1/4. So you want to make sure that the width is covered the width. It doesn't really matter what size these are in terms of their depth, but the width of the card is actually 4 and, let me see, let me get that right, 3 3/4. So you've got to make sure that your waves are longer than 3 inches. So I've done it 4 inches across and 2 inches deep. And that's in Bermuda Bay and Damper Denim in colours. This is Whisper White thick cardstock, and you need a piece of black cardstock as well for the umbrella and also for the backing of the card. Okay, so I've got my little birdie and I've got my, alright, okay, so for the umbrella I have used my white. This is a pigment ink white pen, if you've got one. I don't know what to do if you haven't, but this accentuates the actual umbrella. So, you know, if you haven't got one of these, you probably would. I tried to do the umbrella without it. It just doesn't look the same. So it is nice to actually have it. So, and I'll show you, all I've done is the little white dots across there, just to give it that accentuation of the fact that it's an umbrella. You probably can't see up close, but the definition in the umbrella, when you do the white dots, it does actually bring the umbrella alive. There's my little stick. And you do want to have it looking really good. And the black umbrella just makes the colour pop as well, and all the other colours. There you go. And on the top of the umbrella, on the handle, I have done a couple of little strokes to accentuate the umbrella again on the handle. Just a big one across here and a little one. And we will be chopping a little bit of this off because it's going to be too long. So you don't need that whole length of it. Okay, and then we've got Kitty and Puppy and Birdie. They're so cute. It is a cute little card. Okay, we've got to, I'm just waiting for that pigment ink to dry. In the meantime, I shall get out my sentiment, and I used the washi label punch to do the sentiment. I know the washi label punch isn't available anymore, so seriously, you can just get a piece of paper and cut the little banners, something like that, easy. But I did the washi label, because I just had it there, and it's just easier for me to do with the washi label. So you can do yours whichever way you want. Obviously, I'll just let that dry off a bit. It doesn't take long to dry, that one, but pigment ink does take a couple of minutes. Okay, so the basic grey, I have done my sentiment. A bit of stamping, as they say. A little bit of stamping. And the other thing is, if you don't want to do the wash label, I would actually suggest that you could stick it straight onto there. With all the ongoings, it's not really going to matter because it's got dimension on it anyway. So if you wanted to just stick it straight onto there, you could if you haven't got a label punch. But I'm going to use the washi label punch for this and this particular sentiment, and I'm just going to bring it over as far as I can, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, as you'll see, I've got the sentiment, and I've actually put the washi label right over to this side because I want to put my little birdie on the corner here. So I've done my little birdie, and again I've used my Copic markers to do my little birdie. So I'm just going to pop a little bird on there with a little bit of glue, a bit of Tombow, and just so he is, whoop, poor little birdie, and drop him. Okay, there we go. So he'll sit there. I'm not quite sure where he'll go at the moment. I had him over here before, and he's covering up a raindrop. So what I might do is just leave the sentiment there. The next thing we want to do is pop the umbrella into the waves. Now, when I pop this in, I'm not going to put glue on it just yet, but I'm just going to find my placement. Let me just see if I can bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm going to find my placement for my umbrella so that it slides under the waves and it looks like it's actually floating, as you can see. Look at that. So it was worth putting in that extra one, wasn't it? So we'll just pop that there, and I'm sort of thinking that Kitty will, I like to be able to see a little bit of Kitty and a little bit of Doggy, their bodies, because they look, instead of sitting on top of the umbrella, it looks like they're sitting in. So basically you want to get their angle well placed. So I'm going to stick them on first, and then I'm going to go back and pop the umbrella in again. I'm thinking that one, I don't know if I can get it into this one. Might be able to. I tell you what, we'll try both and see how we go. But first of all, I'll get my placement for my kitty. So I'm just going to put my animals, just going to put a little bit of Tombow just on the bottom here so that it grabs on my umbrella. Sorry, I keep going out of camera because there's a lot of fiddly bits to do here. But of course, you've got to cut this all up. It's called fussy cutting, and you do have to cut it all up because there isn't any dies with this particular the animal set. So, but you know, like you just do a whole stack at night time while you're watching TV or something like that. Now, see how I've placed my kitty? You'll see that Kitty is placed like she's actually sitting in the umbrella and not on the umbrella. And it's just that placement that's really important. And it does look silly if you've got her sitting on top of it, because she's not sitting on it, she's sitting in it. And so's Bella. It's funny, my dog's name, I've got a dog called Bella. I think everybody's got a dog called Bella, haven't they? I don't know. Bella and kitty cats. We've all got Bellas and kitty cats. Okay, so I glued that on the wrong side because I wasn't concentrating, but that's okay. I can glue it on this side now. So we're just going to put little Bella into her little spot, and again I want her to be sitting in it and not on it. So I want to be able to have, you need to have a little bit of glue so that you can have that movability, because she's got to look like she's actually going for a ride rather than being taken for a ride, if that makes sense. Okay, there we go. So okay, you right there, Bella? Okay, I'm thinking they look okay. I think they look really cute. Okay, so We've got them in position now. So again, we'll go back to looking at where you're going to pop the placement. Like, there's a few options in terms of placement where you can put the umbrella. I'm kind of thinking, let me see. I just want you to be able to see what I'm talking about. There we go. It's up pretty close. So I've got it stuck into the wave. If you look here at the waves, you can pop it into the waves. And I can pop it into the first set of waves, or I can pop it into the second set of waves. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to turn this around. Sorry, guys. I've got to be able to see what I'm doing. I can't work backwards. Okay, there we go. What do you reckon? The waves? Yeah, that one looks better because they've got the waves behind. Yep, that looks good. I like that. And I'm going to tip it on a little bit of an angle. Just a little bit of an angle. So it looks like they're floating by. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So cute. There they are, floating off into the wilderness. Okay, so... Okay. Alright, so with these guys, what I did is I just put a dimensional on the back of their heads, basically, just to give them some lift, just for the animals alone. The rest of it was done with glue. Okay. Alright, so we go back to popping them in here, I think, because we could see what was going on with their little cruise. Poor little things. They don't look like they're on much of a cruise, I can assure you. There we go. Okay, so there you go. Look at them floating by in the distance. Poor little bears. Alright, now we've got the umbrella, and again, as I said, we need to cut the umbrella to make sure it looks real. That kind of looks a little bit too long for me, so I'm just going to nip off a bit off the edge, probably about there. Run a bit of Tombow on it, or glue, whatever it is that you want to use as your preference of adhering things. I use what works. That's it. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this around so I can see what I'm doing, because I want to make sure that I get my umbrella stick in proportion with the umbrella. There we go. And I've just stuck that straight down. Oh, there you go. How cute is that? It's so cute. Look at that. That's adorable. Really. I'm going to give this to my niece, actually, because I actually bought the puppy set for her. But when I saw them, I thought, oh no, I can't not play with these. They're just too cute. Okay, and then the last bit is obviously the sentiment with the little birdie on it. And I'm kind of thinking about here for that. Or is that a little bit? There we go. So, oh, maybe over here. Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks good. All right, and I might pop that up on some dimensionals just to give it a bit of height. It's such a fun card. There's a lot of preparation work, guys, and I am sorry that this is such a long video, but there is a lot of preparation work in this one. You do have to do your colouring in, you do have to do your cutting out, and of course, because I'm demonstrating this one, I've had to do a few of each of that. So it does take its toll, but it certainly is a lot of fun when it all works out. Just trying to find the placement for this one again. I think I just there. That looks good to me. Sorry, I keep going out of camera. I've been very bad with my camera skills tonight. Very bad. Somebody's going to have to fire me. There you go. Now, when I cut everything out, which I didn't do on this, and I should have, but when I cut everything out, what I do is I go around the edges. You can go around the edges of each item that you've cut in black, or you can go around in, I use the W1 for the Copic markers, and you just go around the edges of it, and it just gives a little bit of colour to everything, just around the edges of your design or whatever it is that you've put together. And it just covers up all the white, if there is any white, because you are doing a lot of cutting, so you want to make sure there's no white sticking out of your design. You want it to be fairly clean, You don't want it to be not, you know, having little bits of white, because it doesn't look very nice, especially after you've gone to so much trouble to create such a gorgeous card. Okay, so the next thing and the last thing that we have done is that I have I've used white cardstock with a black background. I'll just bring that out now. Yes, I've used white cardstock with a black background because I just think that it looks good and it makes the colour pop a little bit more. And every time I look at them, I think, oh, there's a little kitty. I can't believe they're so cute. Just want to rescue them. Okay, so did I stick? No, I stuck this directly onto the black. I didn't use any dimensionals on this because I don't want any dimension on it. There's already enough dimension on the front of the card, so I didn't really want it sticking up. But the black one I did, and I'll show you exactly how I've done that. So it's not, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward. So I've just basically stuck this one with some Tombow glue or whatever it is you use to glue. The key is to get it straight, I think. It's just more the issue here. So lining up your cardstock and your design onto your black back mat. There we go. Just give it a bit of it. And as you can see, it does give it that gorgeous real picture photographic kind of look, doesn't it? It looks cute. So obviously this is my cardstock. This is my normal cardstock, which is 11 by 4 1/4. So it's, sorry, in landscape it's 11 by 4 1/4, and my black mat is 5 1/4 by 4, and then the white mat is 5 by 3 3/4. So I'll just pop this onto here now. Oh, I haven't gone. It's not too bad considering I was just looking at the time it took me to film it. Second time. I hate having to do it second time because that means you've got to do everything second time, and who's got space for that? Just put a bit of dimension on this one in the back. Yeah, this is, as I said, it is a fussy card. It is one of those cards that you do as a one-off, but you also do it because it's just so cute. And you can get the kids doing some of these too for their classmates, for birthday cards and things like that. So you don't sort of like hold back. It will be, and you'll always, they're always really cute. So I think it's kind of like a set that you'll always use. And it doesn't matter. You've always got a cat lover or a dog lover around, and they always can relate to pictures of their chosen pet, whether it be dog or cat. So I don't think you can go too wrong with them. They're just absolutely cute. Okay, that looks like it's going to be as middle as I can get it. Okay, I think we have finished. Thank you so much for joining me. I do apologise for rambling on and for all the little bits and pieces of mishaps, but this was for me a little bit of a challenge, as you can imagine. But now you've seen it done, you know that it's not that difficult to do. The hardest part of the card is actually the part that I've already done, which is number one, is always the design. That's always the hardest part. The next part is just sitting down and cutting out all your little creatures, or all your characters, whether they be flowers or pets or whatever it is that you like. I like flowers and pets. For me, when it comes to stamping, flowers and pets are the go. So I do hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Thanks for stopping by. Any questions, please drop me a line. You can purchase any of these products by hitting the link up the top of the YouTube bar where it goes to Stamp It Yourself. You can go in, you don't have to join, you can just go in and buy the products. If you choose to, cardstock, anything, just purchase it and off you go. And I'd love to see some of your ideas and some of your takes on it. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to be back really soon with another fun tutorial that somebody in your family is going to love. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.